have all my chats coming through on the one screen, so I'll just say a quick hello now. Who have we got? We've got Jane and George and Kim and hello. I think we've got everybody joined in now. So we have tonight Instagram, YouTube and Facebook all together. This is so exciting. We got the technology working. Woohoo! I so hope you've had a really good day, guys. It's wonderful to have you here, joining me in my little cuddly corner of my rumpus room for another chapter of Freakout Island. What I missed out doing first, though, the other night, was a special song. If you know it, you might like to join in. It's our time, kia ora talofa. It's our time, our special time of day. It's our time, just you and me together. It's time to say hello, g'day, que te pea que. Hello, my friend. Thank you for joining me today. Now, we are doing Big Kids Bedtime Stories. So tonight, a little bit earlier, 8 o'clock, and we've got several chapters in this book. So we'll have a few nights of storytelling, which will be wonderful. And it is for a slightly older age group than I've been reading on my YouTube channel. It's more for, I guess, 8 to 10-year-old. It's a good story, though. Great for kids of all ages. Now, I won't go into too much detail. If you haven't joined me for Chapter 1, then you can easily find it on YouTube. We've just done a sneaky little upload there from Facebook. Edited out all the hellos and bits and pieces in the chat, but it's there if you want to catch up with it. We'll just briefly tell you that this gorgeous cover page here was created by the author's daughter. Is that in focus? There we go. That's better, isn't it? Makes your eyes go funny. It was created by the author's daughter, and the author is Justin Christopher. His daughter's name is Sophie. She did a fantastic job, and this guy here is the hero. This is Leo, 10-year-old Leo. His mum and dad are professional competition winners, and they really love it when it's winner, winner, chicken dinner. Well, they've just won a competition to go on holiday, but they can't take Leo. So they've organised for his auntie to come and look after him. Now, he hasn't seen his auntie for a wee while. Well, we're going to find out now what auntie is all about. Are you ready? Are you nice and comfy? Ready for a story? Well, let's begin. Leo had heard all about aunties. Jono's Auntie Molly spoiled him rotten. And Yang said his Auntie May had a huge purse which was bursting with gold coins. Every time she looked after him, she let him eat dessert for dinner. Yet Leo couldn't remember his own auntie ever really speaking to him, and she most definitely never sent him a Christmas present. Despite this, Leo tried his very best to look forward to Margot's arrival. He dreamt of endless treats. Maybe they could go on adventures outside of Gumsbury. At least that's what Leo thought until Aunt Margo walked through the airport gates. She looked just the same. Already awesome. Who else is here with us? Let me see if I can scroll back and find out. Jen, hello, good to see you. And Trisha, hey, good to have you here too. So are we back online on YouTube? We'll just quickly find out. Oh, that'll be Facebook as well. I was just saying a quick hello on Instagram while I was waiting for the camera to come back online. Gotta love those batteries, especially when they're charged. So where were we? Oh yes, okay. So Aunt Molly had just walked in. The other passengers were avoiding her as if she carried a life-threatening disease. And when she grinned, Leo shivered. Has she turned into a witch, Dad? He asked. Just smile, said Dad. Once you get to know her. Once you get to know her what? Leo asked. But he never heard the answer because Aunt Margo smothered him in her long black coat. It smelt like a bird cage. Then she grabbed Mr. Wrigley's cheeks, squeezing them hard. Leo noticed that she left fingernail marks on his face. Ow! Then the minutes passed as if they were seconds, and soon it was time to say goodbye. As Mr. and Mrs. Wrigley walked towards the departure gates, Leo felt as if his heart had stopped completely. And then his mum and dad were gone, lost in the crowd. Leo took a deep breath and thought about that game, Midnight Raider 2. Aunt Margo grabbed hold of Leo as if he were a rag doll and stomped towards the escalator. She poked the poor boy in the ribs with a finger the size of a crab's claw. "Aren't you so funny looking? Just like your dad." The drive home seemed 100 times longer than the trip to the airport. Aunt Margot's face was wrinkled like a prune, and she was skinny as an empty tube of toothpaste. She never seemed to eat or smile and was hideously unfair. If Leo forgot to put his doubly bubbly wrappers in a bin, Aunt Margo marched straight to the window at the top of the stairs and threw his clothes into the yard. If Leo couldn't finish his dinner, she hissed like a teacher with a wasp in her bra. "Ungrateful baboon," she yelled. "Think about the starving children in America," before forcing cold Brussels sprouts down his throat. Leo couldn't do anything right, and he couldn't help being a typical boy. He picked his nose. So what? Every boy on earth picked his nose. But when Leo Wrigley picked his nose, Aunt Margo hissed, "Keep doing that and your brain will fall out." And when she found out he swallowed his doubly bubbly instead of putting it in the bin, she said, "You'll blow a bubble out of your backside. How will you like that?" "I'm so sorry, Aunt Margo," said Leo. "So you should be. All you do is chew disgusting gum all day and ruin your eyes with video games. You'll get square eyes and die from choking." "Midnight Raider is not a video game. I'm learning to fly. I want to be a pilot." "Are you looking at a screen?" "Yes." Sorry, now my phone's ringing. Oh, talk about technology, guys. This is funny. "Are you looking at a screen?" "Yes." "Are you fiddling with a mouse thing?" "Yes." "Then it's a video game. I'm right and you're wrong because you're stupid." Leo missed his parents terribly, but he tried not to show it, having always been taught to be grateful for what he had. Still, he very much missed the Friday night movie with Burt Lancaster and telling his mum and dad about his new high score on Midnight Raider. Sometimes he sat in his room so he didn't have to face Aunt Margo. "We don't have to watch Burt Lancaster tonight," he'd say. "We can watch your show instead." "It's not Burp, it's Bert, and yes, we will watch my TV show," Margo would reply. And I didn't need you to tell me anyway." One night Leo snuck out of bed and into the lounge where he found Aunt Margo reading a brightly coloured brochure. His little dog, Peace and Quiet, lay nearby, but nowhere near the wicked auntie. Dogs aren't stupid. Leo watched as Margo drank whiskey from the bottle, sniggering at the words in the brochure. What luck," she thought. "He deserves it. No wonder his parents entered this competition. Their son deserves this." A few minutes later, Leo was so bored he tried to sneak back to bed, but the old floorboards were too noisy. Creak, creak. Margo had spotted him. He was dead meat, or so he thought. But instead of being furious, she smiled and patted the vacant spot next to her on the couch. "Leon, come, sit," she said. "I just received an email from your mum and dad." But Margo ignored Leo trying to say, but. She puffed up the cushions so to make them as comfortable as possible. She seemed to be going to a lot of effort, which all seemed very strange. Leo was now sitting very close, too close to his auntie. Her clothes looked like they were 100 years old. Her fingers were wiry like a bird's claws, and her skin was white and appeared paper thin, so thin you could see her veins. She had a smelly voice too. "You are not going to believe what they wrote," said Margo, and held her phone close to her chest. Don't you want to know what it is?" "Yes, please," said Leo. "Well, it's all supposed to be a surprise, but it seems they entered a competition to send you to a brand new camp called Friendly Island. Now, very few children are lucky enough to be selected, but those who are get to spend a whole week diving off waterfalls and going for rides on a banana boat. There are jungle visits, safari rides, exotic birds, lizards, monkeys, and snakes." "Snakes? Really?" "Uh-huh, really." But surely I wouldn't be selected. I mean, why ever not?" "Well, I just can't go, can I? And what about all my doubly-bubbly wrappers and my messy room? You said I was stupid and lazy." "Oh, nonsense, that's all in the past. Forgive and forget, I say. I wouldn't expect you to miss out on something as wonderful as Friendly Island. Oh, yes, I think it's a wonderful idea. Your mother told me to tell you this is the opportunity of a lifetime. In fact, she's jealous she wasn't going herself." "Really?" "Oh, yes." "So when do I go?" Leo asked. "Wednesday." "This Wednesday?" Margo placed her phone on the coffee table and smiled. "You're already registered. You'll receive your ticket and special pack by courier tomorrow." As Leo skipped off to his bedroom, Margo read and reread the email, sniggering to herself. The next morning, there was a knock at the door. It was a courier dressed in a red uniform with a matching red van parked in the street behind him. He smiled at Leo and held out a package. "Master Wrigley?" asked the courier. "Yes, sir," said Leo. "Please sign here and here." Leo didn't exactly have a signature, so he made up one on the spot. The courier didn't laugh or say it looked ridiculous, so Leo could only assume his new signature was just perfect. Now at least, when he became a world-famous pilot, he could have an autograph all ready to go. The courier waved goodbye and Leo shut the door. He ripped open the envelope and out popped a Friendly Island badge, a bandana, and a typed letter addressed especially to him. This is what it said. "Dear Mr. and Mrs. Wrigley, it is with great pleasure that we invite your son to stay at Friendly Island. Guess what? He will be among the very first guests to stay here. He will meet lots of new friends and go home with wonderful memories. His classmates will be very jealous. His classmates will be very jealous indeed. Please make sure your son brings with him his swimming trunks, because there is a pool, or whoops, it's actually an ocean. Tell him not to forget his toothbrush, a towel, a sun hat, a sleeping bag, a torch, t-shirts, pajamas, shorts, a long-sleeve sweater in case it gets cold, a raincoat, and also sunblock. Most importantly of all, please ensure he brings an adventurous spirit and a friendly attitude. We look forward to meeting your son, and once again, congratulations from your new friends at Friendly Islands. Terms and conditions. Friendly Islands takes all reasonable steps to provide your child with a safe and enjoyable week. However, Friendly Island will not be liable for any person in respect of the loss of life or personal injury to any person, regardless of whether that loss, damage, or personal injury is caused by a person's negligence. Leo stared at the letter and then up at his Aunt Margo. "This is so exciting," he said. "But what about this bit at the bottom of the page? We learnt about it in school. The tiny writing. It's called fine print, and it says things like loss of life." "Oh, that nonsense," Margo spat. They just say those things because they have to. All those roller coasters and theme parks all around the world, I've never seen anyone fall off. Besides, what could possibly go wrong at a place called Friendly Island? Thought Leo. Maybe Aunt Margo is right. He carefully placed everything back inside the package. How exciting. He was finally going to leave the town of Gumsbury. He texted Jono and Yang and told them he would see them in a week. And that's the end of chapter 2. What do you reckon? Chapter 3? Should we have that now? Oh, go on then. Chapter 3. Leo sat on a plane called the Kaput 3000 along with 4 other children that he'd never met. A few minutes later, those other children had said goodbye to their parents at the airport departure gate. Some of them have hugged and some others had kissed. But Leo didn't know what to do. Should he hug his Aunt Margo? Maybe he ought to shake her hand. In the end, he smiled a half smile and waved the ticket in the air, holding on to it tightly. Aunt Margo smiled too, but it just made her look like she was trying to hold in a fart. "Now you have the most wonderful time, won't you?" she said. "From what I've read, the island is absolutely unforgettable. And don't forget to thank your parents when you get back." Leo gave her the thumbs up and picked up his 2 bags. "Oh," he said, "please don't forget Peace and Quiet has water and not milk, and he likes the dry biscuits, not that mushy food in a can. And he needs to pee at 7 in the morning and 7 at night." "I'll look after her, Leon," said Aunt Margo. "Him, and it's Leo." "Whatever," she said, and she waved her hand before walking off faster than Leo had ever seen her move before. "Wait, Aunt Margo," he yelled. "Where do I go now?" "Woman in the yellow tracksuit," she cackled, not looking back. Leo turned and found a very attractive lady watching him. He tried his best not to stare, but he found her eyes and her lovely smile so lovely that he just wanted to play Midnight Raider with her immediately. "Hello, I'm Angela from Friendly Island," she said, checking the names on her clipboard. "And you must be Leon Wrigley." "Leo," he replied. "It's Leo." "Oh my goodness," replied Angela. "I'm so sorry. I know how horrible it is when someone gets your name wrong." "Well, okay, Leo," she said, lightly punching his arm and smiling like a movie actress. "Come and meet the other children, and then we'll climb aboard the Kaput 3000. You're going to have the best time, you know." Leo skipped along behind the lady in the yellow tracksuit. This was the first time Leo had ever been on a real plane. Not one on a screen in his bedroom. A real one, with a pilot. Yet something puzzled him. He wondered why the plane was almost empty. All the planes he'd seen on TV shows were filled with screaming babies and attendants walking about with drinks and biscuits. But this one was nothing like that. There were only 5 other people. 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls, and Angela. And what a mess there was in here. The passenger cabin ceiling was grimy. The carpet beneath his feet was torn and bare in parts. He counted 3 cracked windows. There were definitely no screens on the backs of seats to watch movies or play video games. And where were the flight attendants with drinks and biscuits? Once aboard the Kaput 3000, the children secured their seatbelts, and so did Angela. Leo was dying to say something to her, but she was obviously very busy because her eyes were glued to her phone. Leo peered down the aisle and thought about skidding down the length of the plane in his socks, but he soon forgot all about that when he heard the engines hum and roar. Minutes later, the Kaput 3000 took off into a clear blue sky. Leo looked through the wispy clouds below as the houses and buildings became smaller and smaller. Soon they were the size of sugar cubes, and not long after that, so teeny tiny that Leo felt he could squish them with his fingers. Being in a plane was magnificent. He felt like a giant. Once the Kaput 3000 was far above the clouds, one of the boys sidled over and to sit beside Leo. He had scruffy hair and one front tooth that seemed to stick out further than the rest. The boy sidled onto the seat so enthusiastically that he and Leo both popped into the air. When Leo watched as the boy with the bucktooth stuck his finger so far up his nose Leo was worried it would be lost forever, he wriggled it around and around. Soon Leo could see only half a finger. The other half was stuck inside the boy's head. It was like his nostril was a vacuum cleaner and his finger was being sucked up, never to return. About 30 seconds later, the boy finally pulled his finger out and offered his hand to Leo to shake it. "Name's Felix," he said. "Nice to meet you." Both boys saw it at the same time. An unsightly green boogie sat on the tip of Felix's forefinger. It was very impressive, about the size of a pea. Felix quickly put his hand into his pocket. "We'll shake later," he said. "Come on, let's meet the others." Leo followed Felix to the front of the Kaput 3000. "The flight is 3 hours and 5 minutes, said Felix. "The temperature on Friendly Island is 29.4 degrees. There's a northwesterly wind, a light northwesterly wind. Humidity, 84%. "Wow," said Leo. "You should be a pilot." "I want to be one," Felix replied. "Snap," Leo said. And he felt that warm, fuzzy feeling of meeting a new friend. When Angela left for the bathroom, Leo felt his arm being yanked by Felix, who walked him to the row at the front where the 3 other children sat. The girl closest to them had red hair, which was tied in pigtails, and she was chewing on a long strand of it. "I'm Harriet," she said. "I'm Eden," said the other girl, putting a hand out without a bogey on it. "I'm so excited. What are you looking forward to most?" "I'm going scuba diving, then sunbathing, then shopping. I've got $134 to spend." And Eden reached into her small fancy handbag and waved the money around like someone who'd just won the lottery. "Whoa," said Leo. "Where did you get that?" Eden looked a little uncomfortable. It took her a few seconds to answer. It was a present, from my grandma." A boy named Ricky still had his headphones on. He was singing along to songs with words that Leo had only ever heard adults use. "What the?" said Ricky, whacking his device on the seat. "Screen's frozen." This trip is going to be as much fun as watching your parents argue." And for the next half hour, Leo heard all about how Ricky's mum was stubborn as anything, how his sister was a good-for-nothing, and names that he called his stepdad were words that Leo felt shouldn't be repeated. "Ricky," Leo said, giggling, "you seem to know a lot of different words." "Signs of intelligence," said Ricky. Leo's eyes were glued to a bright green island that was appearing through the clouds. He was so excited he wanted to jump right out onto the wing of the plane and straight into the sparkling blue sea. A short time later, the children cheered as the Kaput 3000's wheels skidded on the runway. A message came over the loudspeaker. "Please keep your seatbelts on until the plane comes to a stop." So, every single child took their seatbelt off before the plane stopped. When it came to a complete halt, the front door opened with an almighty whoosh. Felix bolted to the front, but was politely held back by a young man and woman dressed in banana yellow tracksuits. They each wore red matching caps with Friendly Island badges on them. Leo stood back while the other children barged ahead. "Let's do this," said Felix. Harriet grabbed her bag and in her excitement accidentally stepped on Ricky's toe. "Whoa," he cried, "what's the hurry?" "Have you guys never seen an island before? I'm telling you, this whole trip's going to be as much fun as a bee sting." And that's the end of Chapter 3. Chapter 4, next time. Are you enjoying it? This is Freakout Island. It is by Justin Christopher. The picture on the front, remember, by his daughter Sophie. And you can find out more about Justin and the books he has written at Justin Christopher Author on Facebook and Instagram, and on his website. Now that's justinbrownbooks.com. And if you'd like to read along with me, you can find his book on Amazon. And on Wednesday, from Wednesday onwards for the next few days, it will be there for free. Shh, don't tell anybody. Tell everybody, and then they can read along with us. How about that? But we'll leave it here for tonight. And maybe if you're already tucked up in bed, you can have a big, big stretch. Oh, have a yawn. Snuggle in under the covers. Take a big, deep breath. And get ready to sing. See you later, it's time to say goodbye. See you later, we've really got to fly. And I'll be back here very soon with the next chapter of Freakout Island. Good night, my friend. Sweet dreams.